Yo, what's up? My name is Callum, and if there's something that I've been really good at with my own agency in the past couple of months, then it's been marketing and sales and advertising and making sure you can generate as much money as possible with meta advertising, specifically on the front end, but also back end. To give you some context, we've been spending a consistent $500 to $700 or $800 a day on advertising, and we've been yielding 6 to 10x return on ad spends. That means we collect about 6x the amounts that we spend on ads front end in actual cash collected, and overall it's about a 10x ROAS, meaning for every dollar that we put in, we generate about $10 back out. And this machine is running for us 24/7. Now, the reason I'm recording this video is I'm not gonna tell you here that it's gonna be hard for you to run ads. In reality, couldn't be further from the truth. Facebook day by day makes it so much easier for us advertisers to make money online with Facebook. The problem is there's so many gurus out there selling you on outdated strategies, complex campaign structures, and just all that fancy stuff, which really does not matter. I couldn't give a fuck about any of that, because in reality they're just trying to sell you courses because that fancy stuff is what attracts you. You think, oh, that's like must be fancy, must be complex, must be like a secret strategy or whatsoever. So in this video I'm going to pull back the curtains on our exact campaign structure, and I'm going to run you through a couple of really important lessons that I've had to learn that are going to save you thousands of dollars, or in return going to make you hundreds of thousands of dollars if implemented correctly. So let me break down exactly what I see working right now, what's happening in the space, the recent learnings and lessons that I've pulled from this, and yeah, hope you enjoy it. Look, I'm not going to sit here telling you that scaling paid ads is some magical thing only the top 1% can do. This is not what it's about, and in reality it couldn't be further from the truth. And everybody out there can make a shit ton of money thanks to Zuckerberg and Facebook ads. But the problem is there are so many people out there also just with so much noise teaching you outdated strategies or selling you on complex like campaign structure, and the only reason they do that is because complexity and fancy stuff, that's what sells courses, and that's what gets a lot of people's attention. But in the reality, it's not about some secret audience stack or some secret meta ad strategy. It's about speed, execution, and creative diversity, and that's what I want to break down in this video, showing you how we're consistently hitting 6x front-end ROAS on our ad spend, spending about $15,000 to $20,000 a month. Meaning we're spending about $15,000 to $20,000 a month, and we're making a consistent $80,000 to $100,000 back in front-end new cash, selling a 7K offer, which typically we discount to 6K depending on like the client situation, obviously, but those are our unique economics. This is what we're selling, and this is the returns that we're getting. So if you're in a marketing agency or any sort of business that sells high ticket online, then this video is for you, and I'm going to break down the exact structure that we have in our campaigns so that you can copy and paste that for yourself. And before we get into the exact structure, I also got to break down more so the learning process that I've personally gone through that has allowed me to scale to that amount of ad spend and get those amount of ROASs with our current structure and setup. The biggest thing for me is I was stuck with my company and agency for at about 50 grand a month for a consistent couple of months, or even worse, at the very beginning, I was stuck doing 10K a month literally for so long, probably 6 or even 12 months in a row. And the reason for that is because I didn't have any scalable acquisition system to consistently sign new clients. And that is until I cracked paid ads. And the biggest thing that prevented me from getting into the space earlier was just that I was scared to spend the money on ads. And I also had mentors, which I still consider to be great mentors, that told me like, oh, you got to be doing 15 to 20K first before starting to invest into ads. When in reality, it couldn't be further from the truth. And right now, whenever somebody asks me, oh, I'm stuck in this situation, oh, I want to grow the business, whatever, as long as you have 5 grand liquid in your bank account and you know how to sell, spend as much money you can on advertising. So that's what happened. January 2025, that's when I started to spend money on ads, and that's when things started to go up step by step, month by month, until we hit a plateau at about 50 grand a month, where I was spending money on ads, we were getting clients good results, but somehow I was just not able to grow further. And that's when it hit me. I went to this one mastermind in Greece, and I was surrounding myself with all those people also running agencies, running companies, growing, scaling on ads. And the biggest things I've noticed is that my systems, my churn, my retention, my product and service are way better than most people out there. But I was just not spending enough on ads. And they were literally just spending 3, 4, 5, 6 times the amount of money on advertising. That's what's hit me. Because in most situations, you're just afraid or too afraid to just start spending more on ads, and that's what keeps you back. So in a certain way, you just gotta stop being a bitch and start spending more money, start putting your dick out onto the table and actually risk what you've got, risk that capital to make sure that you can invest, and that's where explosive growth happens. But without further ado, let me get into the exact campaign structure that we have. Because in reality, it's not just something like super fancy, and you don't need tons of different audiences and like different ad copies. Like it can be kept super, super simple. And I'll also show you a very quick clip at the end of the video, if you stick until then, of me actually breaking down our current ads manager structure so that you see exactly that what I'm saying here is the actual truth. And this is literally what we're implementing right now and is what is working for us, getting us a consistent 5 to 6x ROAS. And that's just on the front end. That's not counting any sort of back end retainers that come in. You need to understand that Meta's game has changed with Andromeda, which has been a huge update, and probably you've heard of it. Meta incentivizes creative diversity. So the era where you can just take 15 hooks, slap it on one body and one call to action, and then just let that ad rip, and you just gotta put ads out there once and they just run for 6 months, that era is gone. And a lot of people think, oh, like fuck, and now I'm stuck in this situation. I like gotta create so much ads and whatsoever. First, you need to understand though that Andromeda has been a big update for Facebook. If you haven't heard of it, essentially Facebook changed its algorithm to fight against all those AI ad creatives that are being put out on the market. And a lot of people have taken a big hit when it comes to their performance on advertising because of that, thinking, oh shit, like this new update, it's completely fucking me over. When in reality, I think it's probably one of the best things that could have happened out there and one of the best updates that Facebook ever brought out. Because the only thing that you gotta do and the only mind shift and paradigm shift you gotta achieve in your mind is to incentivize, or Facebook essentially incentivizes creative diversity. So literally the only thing you gotta change is if you prehistorically created 10 ads, now you gotta create 50. And yes, that is a lot of extra effort and that can take a lot of time, but everything else just got so much simpler and easier. We're not running any fancy targeting. We're literally got one campaign for testing and one for scaling and winning ads and campaigns. So we have essentially 2 CBO campaigns. We've got the testing one, CBO, then in there we have all our ads, all our ad sets, and then obviously all our ads. Now we structure everything in batches. That means whenever we have a new deer or new batch that's coming out, we try to in the batch have multiple different ICPs that we target, multiple different pain points and hooks that we talk about, sometimes even multiple different like creative formats, so carousels versus B-roll videos versus UGC creators. And we put all that into one batch, which we launch then as an ad set. But we have one CBO campaign for testing, one for winners. With the winners, it's the exact same structure and concept. Whenever we have one ad or one hook or one concept that works really well in the testing campaign, we essentially take those winners, recreate as many as possible, and we'll continue recreating them endlessly, really, and launching them in the winner CBO campaign. So same thing, winner CBO campaign, then in there we have all our proven like winning ads batched in ad sets, and then obviously within the ad sets, we have a couple of different variations. Although I will say we rather keep it small where we don't launch 20, 30 ads within one ad set. With the winner campaign, it's more so 1 to 3, 1 to 5, anywhere in that range. And that's literally all you gotta do. You don't have to change your budget, you don't have to change your audience. We run broad targeting, no interest, and the only thing we do is we exclude existing customers. And what you can do is you can set up an API that goes from your Go High Level or from your CRM to the Facebook Pixel whenever a customer signs up and purchases, so that it automatically essentially excludes them or puts them into this custom audience and therefore excludes them from the targeting. Now that was a bit unstructured, so really putting it on paper, having a structured process, what you want to do is you want to test as many ad creatives as possible. We batch them, meaning we take 10 to 20 ad creatives or scripts, we put them into one batch, and essentially then once those are produced, we're going to go to Facebook, we're going to go to our testing CBO campaign, and in there, we're gonna launch one new ad set with all those new ad creatives within it. And we're gonna do that for multiple different batches consistently. Right now, we're launching about 10 to 50 new ads at least every single week, spending about $700 to $800 a day. From there, eventually you will find winners. When you take a winner, you essentially put that into document, always document wins into scripts or hooks that work. And then you wanna recreate as many winners as possible. I cannot stress the importance of this. And this is something I only just recently really started doing. If an ad dies out, even if it got you great results, but then suddenly dies out, that's not the end of it. You can take that script and format or hook and just recreate it. So for example, we had this one UGC script that worked really well. And then we just took that UGC script, we put it on a B-roll video with text on it. And now we also put it into a carousel, like with slides with the same text and copy, and it's absolutely ripping. So you want to try to squeeze the juice as much as possible from those winners. And that's where honestly 60 to 80% of your efforts and time and creative, like essentially output should go to. I'm a big fan of 80-20, so spend 80 times working on winners and reiterating winners and spending that money on winners, and only 20% on testing. I see a lot of marketers, especially beginner marketers, focus too much on testing where they do a 50-50 split. That is completely wrong and probably one of the biggest mistakes you can do. And then once we have that new winner batch, we essentially just launch that new ad set within the winner CBO campaign. Formats that work really, really well is AI UGC. So we use Make UGC. I'll drop a link below. I do have affiliate link because I know the owner, but highly recommend them. They're a way cheaper alternative to ARC ads, which is what we used to use previously. Make UGC essentially allows you to go there. You can put in the script, you can create your own custom avatars, you can pick out of hundreds of avatars, and essentially you have a pretty good UGC AI model or video that can work really, really well. The second format that just recently started really hitting and working for us is B-roll videos with text upon it. And then another variation that we take from this that can work really, really well, that's super simple, is turning those AI UGC videos into proper UGC where we hire a creator to do so. Meaning we're using the exact same script but a different creator, and that alone will target a new pocket niche in your audience and therefore essentially get you results from that and tap into that new buying pocket. And that's really it. That's the framework, and that's how we've been scaling our own ad campaigns consistently, and that's how we've consistently are hitting a 5 to 6x ROAS. So we're spending 15 grand on ads, we're making $80,000 back, and on the back end we have about a 10x ROAS, meaning the 15,000 that we spend will end up in $150,000 in revenue, which is surreal considering that most agencies and companies out there are aiming to hit a 3 to 4x ROAS, while we're consistently hitting 8 to 10 on the back end in the lifetime value. And that's a difference that you can achieve with proper advertising, proper creative structure, campaign setups. But in the end, this is just more so the tactical stuff. It still comes down to you being good at copywriting and making sure that the words you use, the scripts you create actually hit the buyer's emotions, because in the end, that's what advertising is all about. So take everything that you learned from this video, implement it in your advertising campaigns as soon as possible. And then the biggest thing is stop being a fucking bitch and just scale spend. Just have the courage to put more money onto the table. And I can guarantee you, if you monitor this daily, if you make sure everything's working, then you will make a fuck ton of extra money. Hey, if you want my help to help you with paid advertising campaigns, I do consulting calls if you do want to, but regardless, you can hit me up. So stop listening to gurus who teach you outdated strategies. There is so much content on YouTube like this video for free that you can watch where you get a ton of value from. And if you want to connect, or if you own a brand, you own an agency, whatever, then I'd love to connect. I've got my IG link down in the description, and you can also hit me up if you do have any questions. Besides that, I appreciate a like and follow, and I'll now attach a video of me going through the actual campaign structure on the screen so that you can see what I've told you is the actual truth. And you'll probably not see the small little details here, but you can see here we have two campaign names. We have a winner campaign and a testing campaign, and something we've recently added is a retargeting campaign to increase show rates and make sure that people who booked a call or have signed up and not booked a call get retargeted with our ads. Inside the winning campaign, you can see we have different batches. So we batch all the scripts that we create, and then within each batch, I'll show you this one, the one that we recently just launched, we have multiple different ads like that, and we just let it rip. We don't change anything. In terms of our actual structure, if I go inside and edit this so that you can see, literally nothing. Optimizing for calls, as you can see here on the ad set level, looking for schedules, Canada, United States. We exclude the customer list. Besides that, it's just everything. And then one thing we do, I forgot to mention that, is with placement controls, we've just found better placements focusing on stories, reels, and feeds. We don't do anything else. And then on the actual ad level, you can see we literally just have one copy. And I might want to change that very soon, where we like test multiple different ad copies. We have headlines, and typically when we scale, we like to add multiple ad copies and let it like essentially test more variations of that. That is literally it. We use Hyros for tracking. It's extremely valuable because meta tracking is just not accurate, and I've tried so many different softwares to make sure that we get this data properly, and just the only thing that has truly worked is for us meta. So you can see the way it works is you can like literally everything, but the biggest thing is you can track not just CPLs and the cost, but we have qualified leads as a stage, intro calls booked, demo calls booked, sales, cost per acquisition, just everything like within one row. And it's the only thing that I found to really work. And then essentially based on that, we can see exactly which ads are getting us results and which ones are not. I highly suggest you look into Hyros if you haven't already. And if so, just if you want to check out my settings, you want to go to reports, and then you want to go to scientific, and then put in whatever like sales cycle range you have. For us, it's about 10 days, then generate new report. And then essentially based on that, you can see what numbers we're hitting. So yesterday was a good day where we had 9 leads at $61. Like that's unusual, but you can see only 5 of them were really qualified. So our cost per qualified lead was $111, which we're super happy with. We scheduled 4 intros at $140 each, only 1 demo. Obviously a lot of those come like after that, but definitely something I would want to look into. So as you can see, this is literally the exact structure that we're using right now. I highly encourage you to test as many different ad creative formats and scripts as possible. And once you have something that's working, then double down, just repeat successful actions, and don't be a bitch and just spend more money on ads. But again, thanks a lot for watching the video. I do appreciate you. I would appreciate a like. Subscribe to the channel if you want to stick around. I'll post more content like that, show you more the in-trenches view of the agency that we're running. And I'm also using this channel to document kind of the journey, the lessons, the failures, the wins, just everything. So if you want to stick around, obviously would appreciate it. And again, if you want to connect, my Instagram is linked in the description. So thanks a lot. Peace.